Everyone. I hope you're well. I hope you are ready for a productive accounting lesson. So I hope you've had a good day so far and that you are ready to tackle some accounting today. For those of you who doesn't know me and who's here for the first time, you are very welcome. My name is Shantae. I will be teaching you grade 12 accounting. I am a current grade 12 accounting teacher. I teach grade 11s and grade 10s and some EMS to the little ones. The grade 9s, they won't be happy if I refer to them as the little ones. But I've also studied accounting and I'm currently doing some auditing and some tax, so I have enough working experience in that. So you are in more than capable hands. Okay, so you are going to be fine. Today we will be doing bank recons. So we've done and discussed bank recons in my previous session, and now we'll just continue with some practical tests. So please go and watch my video on just a quick basic theory of why we're doing bank recons, and then like I said in my previous video, we will be tackling bank recons in a different way than we did in grade 11 and 12, grade 10 and 11. So what we did previously is we focused on, could you do it? Could you establish what to do, where, and debit and credit the right things? But now we are looking at it a different way. So we are now looking at in the way of, can you apply your knowledge? Can you apply your knowledge to all of your accounting work? So do you understand what you are reading? When you read it, can you see the different red flags so that you can answer it correctly? Just some quick information. If you want any of these slides or any of these resources, please go to www.africateengeeks.co.za or go to @AfricaTeenGeeks on social media and follow us there. You will meet me every day from 4 to 5 to help you manage and succeed in accounting. Okay, so any questions, any queries you have regarding admin things, please do not hesitate to email www.africateengeeks.co.za. Okay, so let's get started. Yes, I'm just quickly going to recap what we did yesterday for the newcomers. Yesterday, we looked at the bank recon and we looked at the 3 reasons why there's a difference. So we said maybe I made the adjustment in my books, or I brought in the transaction in my business books, but the bank doesn't know of it yet, or the bank has maybe deducted interest or bank charges and I haven't noticed anything yet, so I haven't brought that in as of yet. Or then thirdly, it could also be that the bank mistakenly credited or debited my account. Okay, so there's a few reasons for this. Okay, so just wanted to tell you to recap all of that. Then we looked at the first example and we went through it, and the second example. So please go and watch my video on the first and the second example. Today we'll be tackling a few exercises. Okay. we'll tackle 3.2, 3, and 3.4. Okay, so I don't want to overwhelm you, but I do, however, want to assist you. So the following information in respect of Park Traders is presented to you on the 28th of February 2015. Now, like I said in all my sessions, it's important to know exactly what date are we working with, okay? What year end are we working with? So we are working with 28 Feb 2015. So that's my end of my financial year. Another thing we said in the previous class, I don't know if you guys remember, or for those of you who haven't watched the video yet or the session, attended the session, we say that it's a very good internal control if the business has a monthly bank recon. So they physically do a monthly bank recon so that they can recon what did I account for in my records and what did the bank account for, and making sure that they agree or that they balance. Okay, take the given information into account and answer the following questions. So check number 305 has not been handled correctly by the bookkeeper. What entry had to be made in respect of this check? So let's just read all of the questions before we start just filling in and going ahead. What would you do as the bookkeeper should a check that has not been issued by Park Traders appear on the bank statement? How will check number 645 be handled in the financial statements? Okay. Park Traders received a post-date to check on the 21st of Feb 2015. The check is dated for the 13th of March. Why does this check not appear on the bank reconciliation statement? Okay, what will happen if check number 623 is also not shown on the bank statement? Okay, so I want you to just take a moment and think about all of these. They've now given us the information. They've given us the bank recon. They've shown we have a credit balance according to the bank statement. We have credit outstanding deposits. We have some checks that was not yet being presented for payment. We have an amount incorrectly debited, and we have a credit balance as our bank balance. So just take a moment. I'm going to give you a moment. Just make yourself familiar with this question. What is expected of you? Okay. Okay. So first of all, before we continue, what I want you to see is that we have a credit balance according to our bank statement. This means that the bank owes us 34,900. Okay, so we are looking at the bank statement from the bank's perspective. So the bank statement is what the bank knows about the business. Your banking records, so your bank account records in the general ledger, is what you have recorded and accounted for. Okay, so the credit balance according to bank statement, so the bank, you are entitled to ask the bank for the 34,900. Okay, so this amount the bank physically not owes you is maybe the wrong word to use, but that you are entitled to get from the bank because that's the money you have in your bank account. Okay, now we have a credit outstanding deposit. Now this 19,000 Rand was an amount that was not yet taken into account by the bank. So this might be a direct deposit that the bank has not yet taken into account. So therefore, they know now not only you are not only entitled to this amount from the bank, but you are also entitled to the 19,000 Rand. So when the checks has been written, so you have recorded these checks in your records, in your bank account general ledger, and in your cash payment journal. Okay, but you have not, they have not yet presented for payment. So the business you paid didn't physically go to the bank yet and cashed in that check. So the bank needs to take this into account to say, on these dates, these checks will be cashed in for payment. So therefore, I am deducting your account with us with these amounts. Okay. Then we have a credit amount wrongly debited. So here you need to establish what went wrong and how do I make sure that the net effect is 0. So they've decreased my account and they shouldn't have. So now to make the net effect 0, the bank needs to increase my account again. Okay, that's why it says credit wrongly debited. Now, it's very important that these descriptions, what are you crediting and what are you debiting, is used, and it's important to say this. Okay. Then we have a credit balance as per our bank account, and you guys know that both of these needs to balance. So my credit and my debit needs to balance. Now let's have a look at my first question. It says, check number 305 has to be handled correctly by the bookkeeper. What entry had to be made in respect of this check? Okay, so the check has not been handled correctly. So we, in our accounting records, didn't handle it correctly. What entry would be made to correct this? Okay, so the check was 6 months old. Look at the date, 28 Feb. Okay, a contra entry should have been made in the CRJ to cancel the check. So let me explain. We don't work with checks anymore, okay? But if we did, then a check is outdated 6 months prior. So if the check was within the last 6 months, that's fine. But anything after 6 months, we say the check is outdated and no longer valid. So no one can present it for payment anymore. Okay, so we need to now reverse that entry that we made. Okay, and so that's why they talk about a contra entry that should have been made in the CRJ. Okay. What would you do as the bookkeeper should a check that has not been issued by Park Traders appear on the bank statements? Okay, so you notify the bank about this mistake, and until the mistake is rectified on the bank statement, a credit entry is shown, okay, in the bank reconciliation statement for the incorrect amount debited. Okay, so for the amount incorrectly debited, that's just what you guys are going to do. How will check number 645 be handled in the financial statements? As the check is post-dated and cannot be cashed yet, it would therefore be added to the notes for cash and cash equivalents as well as trade and other creditors. Okay, why? Because it's a income received in advance. And an income received in advance gets added to your trade and other creditors because it's part of your notes, and I am entitled to that income, right? So therefore I added to my cash and cash equivalents, and I added to my trade and other creditors, because income received in advance, because you have the check, you just can't cash it yet, is a liability, because because now they can come and just say, listen, yeah, I've returned the good, I haven't taken the goods, so just return my money. Okay, so that's why it's seen as a liability. How will check number 645 be handled? Okay, that's what we did, sorry. Park Traders received a post-dated check on the 21st of Feb 2015. The check is dated for 13 March 2015. Why does this check not appear on the bank reconciliation statement? When receiving a post-dated check, it cannot be entered in the CRJ. Must be kept in a safe until the date shown on the check. Okay, so this is the recon why it does not appear on the statement, because neither I and my records account for it, and neither the bank accounts for it. So that's an important principle. What will happen if check number 623 is also shown on the bank statements of March 2015? It will again appear on the reconciliation statement for March as outstanding. A check can be shown as outstanding for 6 months before it obviously becomes invalid. Okay, so I can show a check not presented for payment for 6 months, but after 6 months, okay, that's outdated and invalid. Okay, let us move on to the last exercise. Exercise 3.4. The following information was taken from the books of Park Stores, and we have a financial year end of 30 June 2015. So they want us to prepare a bank reconciliation statement on the 30th of June 2015. Check number 7474 was issued to CNA for stationery of 267 Rand. The transaction was entered in the cash payment journal as 276 Rand. So can you see we made an error of 9 Rand? Okay, so that was a little swap around of our figures. It happens on a regular basis. So we're just going to correct this error. In which journal will it be corrected and at what amount? Give the double entry to record the correction. Make 2 proposals to prevent similar mistakes in future. So can you see, guys, you are now introduced to internal controls every single time, every question. Now that we've done internal controls, you need to make sure that those lights go off when you read something like mistake. What can I put into place? Because mistakes results in ineffectiveness, because every time you spend time correcting the mistake, you are being ineffective. Yes, you are learning from your mistake and you have to make mistakes, but time is money. Okay, so if you do not fix it on your own time, you are using your business work hours, and therefore the business could have used you in a different way to make more money instead of correcting mistakes all the time. State the double entry to record a cancelled check. State the effect of the reverse entry of the stale check, so the check that was now invalid or that was outdated, on the bank account. We have information that says the bank account has a favorable balance of 3,996 Rand. Okay, we have a bank statement on Absa, shows a credit balance of 1,020 Rand. Comparing the bank statement and the cash journals for June, showing the following differences. So here's my differences that I picked up. A check received from debtor Ihiman for 300 Rand in settlement of his debt. 325 was dishonored by the bank due to insufficient funds. So basically, this check bounced because he didn't have the 325 Rand in his bank accounts. Well, 300 Rand. He didn't have 300 Rand in his bank accounts, and he wanted to settle 300 Rand of the 325. A deposit of 2,420 Rand on 30 June 2015 in the cash receipts journal did not appear on the bank statement. The following debit order appeared on the bank statement but not in the appropriate cash journal. So here the bank has already taken it into account. So Absa has already accounted for it, but we have not yet in our records. Remember, our records are the cash journals, right? And the bank account in the general ledger. So there we have our annual fire insurance premium that we pay to OUTsurance. We have an 890 settlement for the installment of a private vehicle. Okay, so maybe it's like a tracker or something, but it's a private vehicle of the owner, so that's important. Then we have the following checks is issued during June but not yet presented to the bank. So we have already accounted for it, but the bank has not yet taken it into account. Tenants included paid the rent for June of 880 Rand directly into the bank account. So can you see a direct deposit? Direct deposit. Okay, so now they want me to prepare the bank recon. Okay, I want you to think about how you're going to do the bank recon. Okay, take a moment. Think about everything I've given you. Okay, let's talk about the answer. So, we have a credit balance according to the bank statement of 1,020. Okay, so that's where we write 1,020. Remember, the bank statement reflects a credit balance, so that's why I fill it in there immediately. Okay, this is a favorable balance. So if I could use other words, I would say favorable balance, because the bank will have to still pay me, or I'm entitled to 1,020 Rand. Okay, now the deposit, that rental amount, let's see, the direct deposit, the 2,420 did not appear on the bank statement. So I did record it in my journal, but it didn't appear in my bank statement. So can you see that I'm going to immediately deposit it in my bank statement, my bank recon statement, sorry. Okay, that's where this comes from. My outstanding checks I'm going to take into account like I normally do. Okay, the bank has not yet accounted for it, so they haven't decreased my bank account yet. Now, this is a tricky question. This is the first question that we've done where you physically need to work out what my bank account balance is. Now, they've given you the bank account balance saying it's favorable, but then you have to take into account these that you have not yet taken into account with your cash journal. So, for instance, it's going to be this balance. Do not have everything in that you have not yet taken into account. So can you see why it's important to establish what did the bank take into account and what did we take into account and what do we still need to take into account? So let's just look at this one, for instance, 3.3. I have not yet taken this into account in my cash journal, but not in my cash journal. So I immediately have to subtract it. from this amount given to me. This 300 Rand comes from this cash that bounced. So I recorded 300 Rand in my bank account and I credited debtors, but now it bounced. So now I have to reverse that entry. So therefore, you are going to take it into account now as well. Now it's a favorable balance, so that's why I'm minusing it. Can you see? I'm minusing it because it's a favorable balance. So I'm not getting this 300 Rand anymore, so therefore I'm minusing it, okay? These I haven't taken into account, so I'm minusing it. And it's things that are expenses that need to be paid. Okay, even though this is drawings, it's still going to be accounted for in my accounting records. So then 880 Rand is from the rent. Okay, that was directly deposited into the bank account. So if it was directly deposited, so this forms part of this balance on my bank statement, but I have not yet accounted for it in my books. And then remember, I made a mistake of 9 Rand in my cash payment journal. So I correct that in my bank account. So I hope you understand when to touch your bank account figure and when to write it in your bank recon statements. Okay, so it's just important that you see, if I have not yet taken it into account in my bank record, my cash payment journal, my cash receipts journal, it's going to affect my bank account balance that was given to me. Now let's quickly finish up with the last few questions. In which journal will it be corrected? The amount of the 9 Rand. So the CRJ, because I recorded a payment of 9 Rand more than I should. I have recorded a payment of 9 Rand more than I should have. So this is important to know that your 9 Rand, you have to reverse. Okay, so that's CRJ. Give entries. So you are just going to decrease the stationery expense because you've accounted for more than you should have. And I'm going to debit my bank. Make 2 proposals to prevent similar mistakes in future. Now here's where the internal controls come from. Compare the check with the amount in the CPJ. So make sure that you have an internal control in place where you physically just compare the check amount with your entry, okay? And then let a senior person check it. So maybe have someone else to just go through and make sure to review your work, to check it, okay? So this is always a good procedure to put into place. So make someone just review your work. State the double entry to record the cancelled check. Okay, so obviously it was 25 Rand allowed because he came to pay his full debt. So we're just reversing it. We're adding this. Okay, we're deducting that. So this is easy. I'm not going to go into too much detail. State the effect of the reverse entry for the invalid check on the bank account. You increase the bank if the bank is favorable, and you decrease the bank overdraft. So depending on what your bank account balance is, you will increase it or you will decrease it. Okay, guys, so that is our lesson for today. Our lesson was to just to do a bank recon, that you actually physically change the bank account figure that was given to you, and then also to be able to see, analyze, interpret what the information that you get and that's given, how to interpret it. So I hope you enjoyed this session. We will continue with bank recons and then go to creditors and debtors recons after this. Have a good day, guys.